I say open the door and let me in. Teach us all, preach us in. Turn the cheek, let it slide. Give a vibe on the black hand side. The black hand side. That's it. Oh, black hand side. Black hand side. Oh, the black hand side.
Welcome to the Black on the Block podcast, where we're all about preserving the black family. Everything is pro-black, but don't get it twisted. We respect everyone, but we love our people first.
What up, y'all? This is your soul sister, K. Marie, and we are Black on the Block.
This your favorite guy, Coach Scrap, and you listen to Black on the Block podcast.
This is your humble servant, Pops, and you are listening to Black on the Block.
Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Nika B. Welcome to Black on the Block.
Open the door, let me in. Teach us all, preach us in. Turn the cheek, let it slide. Give a vibe on the black hand side.
Good afternoon. We are Black on the Block to discuss Black fatherhood. So let's start the discussion today first by saying hello to Coach Scrap, Nika B, and Pops.
What up?
Hey, y'all.
What's going on, folks?
All right, so I want to start and let Pops lead the conversation today on your experiences as a young boy with Black fatherhood.
Okay. Well, first of all, what's going on, folks? We're gonna get this thing going, and I'm gonna come off the dome with some things about my experiences as a young fella and fatherhood. First of all, let me say that I cannot remember a time where I did not know my father. So he was always there. My father actually was known for whooping, sleeping, and cooking. Later on, I understood he went to work. But the first thing I knew that Pops was known for whooping. And I also started to pick up that Pops did most of the cooking. Later on, I heard that it hurt my mom's feelings when she would cook every now and then, and we might say, well, when is Daddy gonna cook again? we young folks, we don't know anything but to tell the truth. So coming up, I just knew that we felt safe when my father was in the home. My father worked third shift. So there would be times when people would come to the door and my father was not there, and everyone's anxiety went up in the house. Because when you hear that knock at the door and Big Pop was at home, we felt like he could handle it. Even if he was in a sleep, he could be in a dead sleep back there snoring. But we thought just because he was in the house, if anything jumped off, Big Pop could handle it. So going forward up in my life, when I reflected back, I realized that I didn't have any type of anxieties about not feeling safe in my home because Pop had that area covered. So it allowed me to have space and to grow and to never think I had to step up and do anything. So I always appreciated him giving me that cover. And he gave me the example that men are the protectors of the house. So I never had any false illusions.
So he was very present, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's something like we still went on vacations when we could or whatever, and did certain things. That's why I'm so adamant about it for my child, you know what I'm saying? It's like, she get the world, you know, whenever it's time to go here, she'd probably win more places in her life than anybody she go to school with, you know. But they come from being around real men, whether it was uncles, people that was on the block, my biological father. It's a lot of lessons I learned, a lot of stuff I took from different people, and that made me who I am as a man. You know, it's like don't get me wrong, no disrespect my dad at all. Like he one of the ones. Don't get me wrong, but I'd be remiss to say that didn't nobody else had no hand in molded me to who I am today. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I say, you know, you can't replace a father, but anybody can be a daddy to you. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of different men that came throughout my life that made me what I am. And to be honest with you, with a lot of the struggles that I had growing up, stuff that went on in the streets or whatever may have been, I had more guys that was doing wrong around me, giving me positive insight than I had. Like, I ain't really had nobody telling me go do that, go do. I had more people telling me to do the right thing more than anything. You know what I'm saying? I just fell victim of my own things I saw around me, and that's my fault. That's self-inflicted. But I mean, I had more guys telling me like, "Hey, bro, you got this going on. You got this going on. Go do your thing." And I still hold it to this day. You know what I'm saying? So I salute any man that's ever been in my life. And even you, Pop, you done gave me my life, dog. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? You done gave me some stuff, and I every guy I know, anybody I know, then I always reinforce positivity in my life, and that's why it's so easy for me to give it back to those that come up under me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got for that though.
And I'm sorry, go on. I was going to piggyback off something you said.
I will say this: being around a lot of masculine men and being around a lot of men that told me to do this and told me to do that and steered me in the right direction. Like that makes me be a man, a certain type of man. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't got to be quiet. I ain't got to shut up. I can speak. And because I was around some real strong brothers though, for real. Like these were some strong dudes.
Yeah, that's actually what I want to piggyback off of, and I certainly will allow the women to get in here. But my father was the foundation, but I was just extremely lucky, fortunate that the situation that I grew up in, I had uncles that were extremely good examples of not only men, but fathers and husbands. Right. And so when I would hear these things, these negative comments, often it was like a foreign thing to me, because not only did we have matriarchs in our family, we had patriarchs. So I was seeing awesome women and men, but and the church that I was a member of, actually still a member of, there was almost half the amount of men as women. So it was about 50-50. So all the deacons at the church, I borrowed a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one. This one walked with a pimp. That one drag his leg. And this one is a comedian. This one is, what I'm saying? Yeah. This one is very serious. So I was fortunate. Right. I could just pull from all these different examples. And I didn't know it until later how fortunate I was, because I thought that was just how it was for everyone. And then looking back, when people would say, Jimmy, you all are rich, I didn't know what they were talking about, because I knew that we didn't have a lot of money, but they were not talking about the money. They were talking about the support that was wrapped around us. They were like, you got your mama and your daddy in your house. So that meant, y'all rich. And I'm thinking, man, this the projects, we live across the street, but they saw us. They saw my daddy dropping us off at school. To them, that right there in itself meant we were rich, but it dawned on me later on that it's not all about the material. It's about the resources, the support. And I want to know what you all think about it, Miss K. Marie and Nika B.
Well, I will say what you just said about your peers saying, Jimmy, you all are rich, made me think of my favorite poem by my favorite poet, Nikki Rosa, by Nikki Giovanni. She talks about her upbringing in Knoxville, Tennessee, and how poor she was growing up with no running water. But she was so loved on in that poem, in that upbringing, in that environment, that she didn't realize how poor she was, because Black love is Black wealth. So that makes me think about my upbringing. My father, he Lord, I'm gonna start crying, Jesus. He was not my biological father, but I don't refer to him as a stepfather, because he never treated me as a stepchild. I call him my father that raised me because he was there.
Take time. Take time.
It's all right.
He was in that delivery room with my mother.
Yeah.
And he didn't treat me any differently than he did any of his other children. And he supported me, and he was my biggest cheerleader. And my father, he was a good man, but he was a flawed man. All of us have our flaws. He instilled values in me, family. So did my grandfather, his father, who never treated me any differently. He always told us growing up, you were Burns, damn it. You were Burns. Meaning you hold your head up high. And family is everything. So that is my experience with Black fatherhood. People say that, I'm good at what I do. And I've had some good professors, but my father, he was the best teacher I've ever had. He taught me more than any professor did. He taught me more than any textbook did on how to treat people. He even taught me in his mistakes. He taught me.
That's how I want somebody to talk about me. That's how I want to be talked about right there. It make it break down when you talk about it because it's so good to you. Now I'm gonna tell you, K Marie. Also, I'm gonna tell you just because we all have our different relationships. We're all connected at some point. You can tell by how strong you are as a Black woman that there was a powerful Black male force in your life. You can tell that.
K Marie, when you were talking about your pops, you know what I thought about?
What is that?
When I first saw old K Marie, I thought she was from up around Yonkers, New York. I thought she was Brooklyn, Harlem. Cause
I should have been.
she had this big city style. She had a presence. She had an air about her. And later on, I found out that she was from around here in Tennessee and a smaller city around in Tennessee. And I could not believe it. And she told me about how her father would have them sit down and watch certain television programming so that they would be educated on things that normally the schools don't teach you. And so, as Coach Scrap just indicated, you don't have to always know, but you can see indicators of when a strong male figure has been in someone's life. And that's one of the things on this podcast and the ones I listen to. I want us to speak more things into existence, because when we talk about more positive things, we will have young men aspiring to be like those folks. Consequently, what I used to hear about men all the time were negative. Men are dogs, deadbeat dads, just all negative. But even though it was not my experience, who I was around, but I knew I was positive. And I was one of the strongest male advocates, because it just so happened that the people that were around me, maybe if they were off track, I was working on getting them on track.
Yeah.
But we did that in private because Coach Scrap, you said you want somebody to speak about you in the way that K Marie was speaking about her father. Guess what? You are on the right track. Your baby will speak about you like that, because you are investing what it takes, and you will not be disappointed in your investment. I guarantee it.
I appreciate
Now, I will say this. When my father began to struggle, obviously it affected the family. And when the father struggles, the family struggles. I believe Jay-Z has a song about that on the 444
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
um album, Family Feud. Nobody wins when the family feuds. Nobody wins when the father or the head of the household is struggling. So when my father struggled with his vices, we all struggled. There was a time in my life when I needed the best of him. When I began to date, my father was struggling. I didn't have that guidance. I didn't have him to protect me when I started to date. So that really affected my choices and who I dated. So that's the other piece to my experience with fatherhood, with Black fatherhood. So when my father struggled, we all struggled, and the family broke down, and it led to myself and my siblings being what you would call at-risk teenagers. And we are still dealing with the repercussions of that.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, connectivity. I think often we don't think about things in that way because all of these things are connected. We don't operate in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And when you were mentioning some of those things, I thought about that as a father. I was fortunate to see my pop do certain things. And I knew the things he did well, I wanted to do them like that and even enhance it. I saw some areas that he didn't know to do. At first, I didn't understand it, but then when I thought about his upbringing, he didn't even know it to do because he didn't grow up with his father in the home. So Big Pop was just going for what he knew. And so as I learned things, as I was getting older and I had more wisdom, I knew that I couldn't even give my children certain things when I was a father because I didn't know them to give it to them. So when you mentioned
Mm.
that when the
Hey, that's
father
deep. Hey, that's
struggles,
deep. That's deep. That's deep.
yeah,
That's
I didn't
deep.
I
That's
didn't have
deep.
it. I didn't have it
That's
to
deep.
give to him. And I learned not to beat myself up about what I didn't know. Because at the
Man,
time you do your
ain't a whole lot of
best.
men gonna say that.
Oh yeah.
Ain't a whole lot of men gonna say that.
I didn't have it.
Oh.
And I kind of felt bad. I had to apologize to one of my children because I was awarded custody of my children when they were 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a father can be the best father that he can be, but a father cannot relate to a little girl in the same way that a good, solid mom can relate to a little girl. So often when she had certain problems, I
It's
came at
tough.
it from a problem solver's point of view. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well,
Let's fix
just
it.
do, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what's the problem? And so sometimes she would cry and say, Daddy, you don't understand. And I'm thinking to myself,
Right.
sweetie, you're right. I don't. And I said, I want to apologize to you because I have daddy information. I
Yeah.
said, I can't be the other side. But what I can do is put you around good, solid women so that
Write
that
that
way they
down.
can help fill in those gaps. And and my wonderful wife has done some things that when I hear it happening, and sometimes I think I'm a pretty sharp fella. But one thing that I've noticed that there's some there's some things that I can't see that my wife will often see. And I'm thinking, I never thought of that because we're set up to stay in our lane, but we have to also be set up to let help come in when we need it. That's one of the signs of a good father. There are some things that we can do well, and there are some things where we're not as good, but we might have that helpmate,
Yeah.
and she can be our counterbalance. So I got a chance to see my mom and dad work together.
I'm glad you just said that, man. That just helped me out in fatherhood. I've been hearing that for the last 3 months
Mm,
consistently. Daddy, you just don't understand. I'm like, I'm
Parents
giving it
just
to
don't
you though.
understand.
right.
She like, nah, daddy, you don't get it. And then I'm giving you some good. I'm giving you some stuff. I really should be charging you for the stuff I'm giving you. This costs a $2. You know what I'm saying? She's like, nah, that ain't no, you don't get it. Now you don't get it.
Right.
That's what I be on. But now, and you're right. You know what? And to be honest with you, the biggest thing that stood out of what you just said, man, I might have to go back and apologize and let her know. You know what? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you go through as a female, I'll never be able to go through. And I ain't talking about just sequence of things. You're going through it as a female. Whatever you're going through, I went through as a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through it just on some, we're going to fix it, or really, man, I ain't studying it. You going through it, the world going to end.
Right. A lot of emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I definitely, man, I've been hearing that for the last 3-4 months. Man, I'm talking about, man, every week. Every time I speak my opinion, daddy, you don't understand.
Okay, so Coach Scrap, are you going to go and apologize to her?
Not today. Not today's Father's Day. Today's Father's Day. Today's Father's Day.
Tomorrow,
I would
are
not.
you going to go and apologize to her?
That's post Father's Day. That's
as
crazy.
long as you apologize.
Hey, to everything there is a season. Right.
Yeah, I get to
ASAP. Tomorrow.
This is the first day of the week. I get with the next Monday. Next Monday.
Hey,
Black parents need to work on apologizing to their children. As a matter of fact, Black people, we all need to work on apologizing. I've been working on that more recently myself.
That's one of the most important things, but the way we do that, folks, is to demonstrate. And it's like, for all of the strength and the intelligence that so many people have, we have to get out of our own way. Because I don't necessarily care about how dynamic, how intelligent, how old you are, if you can't at least be accountable for your actions. Yeah. So before I can start waxing poetic about all this stuff that I can do, the first thing I need to do is humble myself. And if I, as the man of the house, can't humble himself, how can I expect my fruit, my children, be humble? So that's one of the first things I had to do. You know what? My children see everything about old pops. And when they call it out, we can't be so defensive to say, now look here, I'm daddy. First thing we should do is stop and think, is it valid? And if we get that emotion out of the way, you know what, sweetie, you made a good point. And daddy will work on that. What you did is you just taught a lesson. Because see, consequently, if you tell somebody, I tell you what, you shut up and you get out of here, don't you worry about what daddy do. You the child, you stay in a child's place. What you
I used to be that.
Well, see, and see, most of us, we do what we saw. Yeah, and so
I've been waiting until somebody shut up talking to me. Man, shut up talking to me. What are you talking about?
You know,
what are you talking about? But get out. If you don't like it, get out.
It fly off the tongue rather easily. Because but you know what, when we start to learn and we start to put these things into practice, it's so helpful. Because when people know that we're not perfect, we don't walk around so starched up, it'll take stress away from you. And so folks around you will start to improve, and it'll keep you elevated and growing just with being humble.
You know, I admit this, man, and I didn't know the impact I had. And somebody just told me last week that, and they're talking to me, they said, man, you don't know the impact you really have on people, which I really don't. Because everything I do is who I am.
Right.
But I told my daughter 2 years ago, she had a game, and the sports that she played, I don't get to show up at a lot of her stuff because I got my own stuff going on. I coach and all that stuff. And so she had a game. She didn't do that well. She did well according to players that play, but you know what I'm saying? My do well is a little different. And so I'm going off the whole gym, hear me? And then the gym, they know Coach Scrap is. So the gym, they got to be his baby. Man, we got in the car, man. She ain't talk to me. She ain't talk to me at all. Now, don't get me wrong. She had it. she had a good game for a kid. You know, I wanted her to have that.
She had a good game.
I wanted her to have that Tia Cooper game. I wanted the Tia Cooper. I wanted that LSU girl. You know what I'm saying? But when she can do it, you know, she can do it. She just didn't do it when I was there. What she explained to me, she said, I've been around a lot of people that talk about you and what you used to do when you played. From high school, college, I was around a lot of people. Nobody's ever said nothing bad about me. So when it comes to me and what I did with sports, and not just the way I played it, my preparation, the way I attacked it, I fell in love with the process. I mean, I loved it, and I wanted to be great. And I had to apologize to her because what I found out was every time I don't be at the games, I got whatever I got going on, she got all these stats. It's boom, boom, boom. And then when I show, I'm like, y'all be showing me, I'll never see this. And what I found out is that when I pop in, she get nervous because she feels like she has to. She already told people like, look, well, he ain't got no son, so I'm gonna take this. I got to be the next one. And she feels the pressure of being so great that when I come around, she don't want to fail. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to apologize to her because look, it's been a lot of times, you know, when she been around people and they talking about me. I'm just do tell, say more. You know, tell everything. You know, I for sure stroke it. But I didn't understand how much that was hindering her. You know what I'm saying? Because when I ain't around, she put the clinic on when I ain't around. The moment I step foot in the gym and she don't have to see me, it goes down. She just feel that aura. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I had to apologize to her about that like a while ago. Like, man, I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you do. You ain't gotta play sports another day in your life. I'm still your dad. I love you. I don't care what you do. You so good at so many things. You know what I'm saying? And I never put that. I don't never want you to have that feel like you gotta have that pressure. Like I gotta be great. I gotta be able to go to college and get a full scholarship. Hey, you can get a partial. They just let me know I gotta pay half. You know, just don't go somewhere and don't get nothing.
That's right.
You know, but I didn't realize how much pressure I was putting on her, and it really wasn't me. You know, it was people talking about me. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it ain't had to do with me.
Sure wasn't.
I said a couple things. You know,
she understands the expectation.
That's right.
But one good thing I'll say about that, they'll carry on in other areas of her life that she understands what her father expects from her. So, we talked about it a little bit before we started recording, and you know, unfortunately, I didn't have the presence of a father growing up as a child.
Right.
So I'll speak to the importance of how vital it is for fathers to be present. Just in hearing y'all speak at different levels, when fathers are present, there's an abundance of confidence that can come from and understanding as far as being protected. One of the things I struggle with and probably still struggle with is not feeling covered. Honestly, it affects every relationship I'm in. As soon as I see that somebody is not what I define as a protector, I'm out. Like, I'm good.
Okay.
Deuces. Right. So again, one thing I'll say is don't believe the hype, although it may seem like a little bit like an oxymoron, but again, I didn't have a present father. We're flooded with the idea that I'm gonna call it a myth that Black fathers are not present. When Black fathers are present, they are present. I'll put a couple of statistics. It says that 27% of Black fathers take their children to and from activities every day compared to 20% of their white counterparts. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with homework every day at 41% compared to 28% of white fathers. 72.7% of Black fathers talk to their children about their day several times or more a week. So again, on the stress, when Black fathers are present, they are present. Don't believe the hype. I think that myth is out there to continue to weaken us as a family unit. because they know, again, when they're present, they're present. So if I
Yeah.
can do anything to pull that rug and make the Black family unsteady a little bit, then I'm gonna do it. Hence, the school to prison pipeline. You know, so it goes into so many other areas.
Yeah.
All right.
Another thing I want to add is since I've been dating in the streets.
Hey, you what?
You edit that. I don't care.
What now? Hold on.
No, everything happens for a reason, y'all. I've been very, very fortunate to meet some good Black fathers. Maybe not compatible romantically, but some good Black fathers. And so I needed that growing up the way I did. And again, no hard childhood at all, but just that lack of security, that lack of feeling valid. You know, I had my grandfather, actually, he was my great grandfather. So, you know, the generational gap was huge. You know, he didn't even want nobody whooping me, you know. So, and so I had that relationship. But after that, or somebody else coming behind that and actually being a father, I did not have. And so again, those confidence issues, those things that follow you into your adult relationships is huge. So I'm going to say to those mothers out there who like to pull that power move, or what they think is a power move that's detrimental to your children, and not allowing the fathers to spend time and quality time and be with their children, you are doing them a great disservice. It's just going to follow them for generations and generations and generations. So that's my spiel on.
You know, I'm gonna come back behind you. I'm gonna come back behind you. Yeah, it's Father's Day. Let me go first. It's Father's Day. If it was any other day, you can go first, Queen. but it's Father's Day. The King speak. I'm gonna say this, Nika B. You know, the way we met was situational, of course. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Turned into I mean, even when I first met you for real in real life, it was like we've been knowing each other for years. You know what I'm saying? Like it really ain't never been awkward with me and you.
Right.
You got kids. I love your son like I was in the delivery room with him when you had it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's for real. You know, I done had conversations with him that we'll never talk about on here, or I'll never tell you. Right. I have things that he's told me that's sacred. It's just what it is as a man. Me and him talk a lot. And we can go, me and him go months without talking, and I hit you up like he got a new number or something, and you'll give it to me. But if he need one thing I've noticed about him, when he need a word and he needs some real advice, he find me.
Yeah.
And hit me up. And that's the man in me, because them the type of men that was around me. And I owe that to people. I remember when I first met you, it was to get your son in school for football. Mm-hmm. The first thing I told you while doing it, I said, your son life mean more to me than football.
Yeah.
And I said it, and you heard it, but I feel like at this point I've proven it.
Right.
Because he don't play football no more.
Right.
He done with that, but I'm still in his life. I still talk to him. I'm still worried about him. I'm still concerned about him. And that's the dad in me. That's the role that I came in, and he told me some wild stories. Like I'm like Kim, you got it going on now. Hold on now, Kim. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Now, hey, I understand you. You know what I'm saying, but don't do that. I never did it before. I know the outcome. Right. Don't do that. First started talking to him, and I love this for this situation. Because when I first started talking to him, he wouldn't return my phone calls at first. He wouldn't, but then once he finally saw that I was sincere about what was going on, hey, what's up, Coach? Man, you don't even play ball now. Coach, I need to talk to you real quick. You biz? No, I ain't biz. What's up? You know, and it's been things like that. Like I said, I'm not his father. I'm not none of that. But when K. Marie brought Nika B to me, and Nika B came to me, and we talked about her son, I took that as a young Black man. I took him serious, and I didn't play around with it. And at the time, and me knowing Nika B, she took it. Okay, K. Marie knowing him, and you know, okay, I'm listening to him. But I think at this point she understands that. Oh yeah, he was dead ass about what he was saying.
Right. I will say this. I'll say this, because you brought up a point. I remember speaking to somebody who, and it's not taken away from him. When I first met this man, I thought he was an upstanding guy in the community, everything, blah 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 blah. And this is not taken away from him. He may still be dead, but it changed my opinion on him when we got to talking deeper about things. He has a son, raising son is doing stellar, doing great in college, everything. But for whatever reason, he thought his sole responsibility was to only teach and spend time with his son. And listen, you covered in there. You took care of your business, but there are other kids out there who need things. If I have the capacity to give it as a woman, I'm gonna give it. As a man, you should, especially in our own community, because again, we talk about. I just said, don't believe the hype. Don't believe this. What they try to feed us. We have an obligation. My kids are not just growing up. Themselves, right? They're gonna have to interact with people, and if I don't find the time, but especially with Black fathers, I think that you have a somewhat of an obligation to extend beyond what's in your household if you're so capable. So.
And that's the problem. That's one of the problems in the Black community. Somewhere along the lines, we became concerned with our households and no one else's. And if it had not been for support systems outside of my household and my family, when my father began to struggle, I wouldn't be sitting here with you all right now. If it had not been for my best friend and her family and my extended family, I wouldn't be on this podcast with you all. As a matter of fact, it probably wouldn't be a podcast because you all know the 6 degrees of separation. So we have to be more concerned with one another. And like Nika B said, we have to interact with one another. And I'm sure there's been a support system outside of our households that have helped each of us at some point in our lives.
And let me jump in there. First of all, because I want to respond to something you said later. I made a couple of notes, but I want to respond to that directly. But when you said that we have to do a better job at not just helping our own household, I used to get into major debates in the barbershops. When I tell you I love them old barbershops and old pops can debate. Yeah, well, that's where you have the most fruitful debates. But
it get real enough.
It get real. So one of these reoccurring debates that I would often have would be about one person telling me men need to do better. They need to be volunteer coaches. They just need to do more as far as volunteering. And Pop's counter argument, what I would make was that a man's first priority, in Pop's opinion, was to his house, because the good book says charity starts at home. So what a man has to do is he has to take care of the foundation before you go gallivanting out to be heroic in the community, because there's something to be said about when you go out first without your home base being covered. So it was a back and forth thing. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't do everything you can, because Pops, what I would do, since I couldn't volunteer coach, I didn't have the time, because working, being a husband, being a parent, being a sibling, it was so much other things. What I would do, I would offer creative ways of adjusting our men in the barbershop without them knowing that's what I was doing. For example, there was one day a guy came up, and that's back when like the 22, 23-inch rims were, that was something, the paint job and the speakers he was bumping. So he came in, and everybody in the shop went out to look at his car. They were looking at his paint job. They were looking at his rims. He was popping his trunk, showing them all the speakers he had. And when he came in, he was talking about struggling to pay some child support. He didn't have it like that. He couldn't do it. He had 3 children. One that was living in Tennessee, and the other 2 were in different states. So 3 children. And he was just saying he didn't have financial means to really do anything. So I was asking him questions, and I said, man, I said, I can't imagine. I said, you probably spend more time with the child that you have here in Tennessee. I said, how do your other children feel about that? He started answering the best he could, and I said, wow. I said, so I noticed you said you didn't have a lot of excess money. I said, do your other children, did they participate in extracurricular things? Or did they get tutoring? I said, man, I said, cause often I said, people don't understand how important that is. And what's really important is how we choose to spend our resources. Because those children, if we invest in them, man, it'll come back, man. And what I was doing, I didn't say it, but he started thinking about how he was just telling everybody how much he spent on his paint job, how much he spent on the rims, how much he spent on the system. I didn't say it to him. I threw it up in the air and let him catch it. Because had I said it to him directly, especially in the company of everyone else, his ego he probably would have crossed his arms.
Man, who you talking to? What you talking about?
He would have gotten defensive.
Yeah.
Possibly getting defensive. So I made it where when he left out of there, he was thinking. And see, I didn't have to say it directly. I could tell by how he stopped talking, and I could look at him thinking. I could see the wheels spinning. Yeah. And when he left, I hope he figured out a way to stop investing in crap and invest in those babies, especially the ones that are further away. Because if you can't be there, the least you could send resources for the extracurricular, the tutoring, whatever they need help with, do a better job.
Yeah. But do you know if he did make any changes?
I have no clue, because I didn't know him before, and I hadn't seen him since.
Yeah. What you were able to do is plant that seed.
And Nika B, that led me to one of my other notes I made. I'm glad you said planting that seed, Nika B, because when you talked about how we need to speak in a more positive manner, because the stats don't come out where it says Black fathers are more present than their counterparts. And so we have to speak these things when we talk about them. You know how we talk about planting seeds, but somebody got to till the soil. We got to get the soil right, so when you put the seeds in them, they can go down in there and grow. So the things that we do today, these things might not happen to 2 generations out. Because see, right now, the problem is such a magnificent problem. It don't mean it's not solvable, but I think we have to be realistic when we think about the time frame. It didn't take us 1 generation to get here, and we're not going to get out of it in 1 generation.
Yeah, and those stats made me think about my father. My father was the one who stayed up with me at night when I struggled in math. My father played tea party with me when I was 5 years old. That's one of the first memories I have. My father took me to get my first tattoo. My father did tell me my Black Panther tattoo.
Hey, make sure you say, hey, I want you to say that, okay?
What?
Because I'm having an issue right now. I told my, hey, you when you try to get tatted, we can go.
What is the legal age?
Her mama ain't with it.
I'm with her mama. I'm with her mama.
Now I was legal.
No.
What's legal?
I was legal. Yeah, I believe I was probably in college, at least 18.
So you go back to white. You know what? I'm about to say something. Never mind.
I would say she needs to be 18.
We'll have a phone call. We'll do that on a phone call.
Yeah. Okay.
18.
I would think.
I got my first one when I was 12. Why everybody start turning around? What?
I was still playing with dolls. I was very.
You get your first tattoo?
Yeah, me too.
I don't have a tattoo. I don't have any.
You got the number 3 MAC lipstick on. I like that. The number 3. You know that? Yeah, come on. The number 3.
No tats. Nothing permanent. Nothing permanent.
Go get the Black on the Block tatted on everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know when I want to go to the
table that. I will table that.
Pops, come on. Pops, come on.
Hey, Big Mike.
Hey, I just make sure when we get it, we gotta have this thing already. We gotta be about this logo now because make sure everything legit now.
It's ours.
Well, with Nika B, we'll certainly have a good, robust conversation about that. I think that'll be, that's a good idea now. But we'll have to have a robust conversation.
I got a couple spots left on my body.
I mean, you all are parents. I'm not. I'm a support system. That's a whole nother ball game there.
I'm trying to read y'all the write-up they did for me at the little joint.
Oh, yeah.
Man, they wrote that thing up about me. You hear me?
You were crying, huh?
Scrap.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you what I did do. I didn't cry. I'm gonna tell you what I did do. I was sitting there and it was reading. I didn't cry. I did not cry. I did this though. Man, I don't know how they know this stuff about me. I'm like, man, who told y'all this stuff about me? Nah, she didn't do that.
For real?
But they went into Memphis, about my Memphis life and gang banging, and I said,
you need to go get that. I want to hear that before we get off today.
Chris got some on the books. I got multiple copies.
I want to read it. I want you to read it to us, so you can tear up.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not gonna tear about me. I'm not gonna tear about me. I'm not gonna tear about me.
Yes, you will.
That's wild.
To know that other people think that of you.
To be honored. That's a great thing.
And they put one of my sayings in there. I ain't told y'all, and I hadn't told them my saying, but they put one of my sayings.
You got a say? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's listen. I tell all athletes and tell all people, you can be one of two S's. You can either be a statistic or you can be a star. Come on now. Put that in your journal now. You can be a statistic or you can be a star now.
Okay. Look at you done grew up and shit. Okay.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
Right.
Coach.
That sound like I want to work down back.
It's the rules for me.
You put emphasis on back in the day. My back in the day is not y'all back in the day.
Oh my goodness.
What that mean?
Scrap Eye said it was in black and white photos back when we were young.
My back in the day was my back in the day was Jodeci and you know what?
My back in the day, I was in high school.
Your back in the day was Temptation.
No. Bullshit.
What's your back in the day was
back in the day.
I know you want to leave me,
You was a child.
but I refuse to let you go.
Whatever. I don't even know what's down there.
Beg you, please. You know we did a movie. He said, if I got it, they want to take the mic from it.
Hell no. Hell no.
If I got it, beg you, please.
You seem to know it.
Exactly.
So you were either around here or heavily involved with somebody.
Thank you.
Everybody I hung around was born in the 60s.
Okay.
I would listen. I'm almost 80s, baby.
Not us.
Look, I'm on the cusp of 79. Like I'm
on the cusp.
No, I'm on the cusp of being the 80s, baby. Okay.
Mid 70s.
Who in the 70s?
Yeah.
71 ain't the mid 70s.
Don't do that.
My bad.
Don't do that. Ooh.
Test it. 1, 2, 3, test it.
I say open the door and let me in. Teach your song, preach your sins. Turn the cheek, let it slide. Give 5 on the black hand side. The black hand side. That's it. Oh, black hand side. Black hand side. Oh, the black hand side.